will have seen Scotland at 7 tournaments now. World Cup 82, 86, Italia 90, 1998, and 3 European Championships in Sweden 92, Euro 96, and of course Euro 21. This reel here is the only surviving footage of Paul Sturrock's first goal for Scotland. Over 40 years since the match, that goal's never been shown anywhere. So I've been all over the world watching Scotland. I used to take my camera to every away game, so I have acquired quite a lot of footage. My name's Ronnie McDevitt, and I've been filming Scotland games with my camera for the best part of 50 years. Here's one of many boxes of films I managed to unearth from the depths of my attic. Spain versus Scotland 1982, Belfast 81, Israel 81, 1983 home internationals, Yugoslavia 89 and Cyprus February 89. There'll probably be approximately the contents of that box another 3, possibly 4 times over. First cine camera I bought, I would have been 14, it was in 1975. It was exactly £8. I went to my first Scotland match at the age of 15, 1976. Other people took holiday pictures that I would take a film over there. First film I still have is from when I went to Liverpool for the Wales game, 1977. I decided to take my cine camera down to that. The game footage didn't come out because it wasn't a great camera lens, it didn't work under the floodlights, but what I did get was quite a lot of footage of the Scotland fans in the city centre of Liverpool ahead of the game, which I'm glad I did get now. That was a great time to start following Scotland. The films were a visual diary through the years, getting on the aeroplane at the start, getting off the aeroplane when we were arriving, around the city the days before the game, etc. At the game, I always kind of had a cameraman's eye. There was no Eurotunnel there. There was no Eurostar, there was no budget airlines. So, you know, you had to save up quite a bit. You had to sacrifice quite a lot if you went to the matches regularly in those days. It's interesting when you look back at the footage, comparing the crowd as it was then, as it is today. Kind of captures a moment in time. Very rarely would you see a kilt in the 70s. In those days, kilts were really for weddings. You'll see a handful of women, not a lot, quite a lot of flags. Generally, it would be the red and yellow, the line rampant. If you went over there without a ticket, even if the game was sold out, you made every effort to attend the game. There's nothing like seeing your own team playing. You couldn't possibly film the whole games, simply because you had to change the spool every 3 or 4 minutes. You had to be quite selective what you were filming. You could have a perfect shot, then somebody stands up and obscures it, and you just end up getting very annoyed. It was a World Cup qualifier in Oslo against Norway, 1988. Scotland won 2-1. Paul McStay scored the first goal and managed to get a film of that. In the second half, ball came to Maurice Johnson. I'm feeling quite pleased with myself, and then I looked at the indicator on the camera and the film had expired. So then I was struck with horror, and I thought, at what point did the film cut out there? I had no way of telling. I sent the films off for processing. Probably another couple of weeks after that, we finally got around to viewing the film. I've got the goal, and Maurice Johnson even runs towards the stand where I was just before the film cuts off. Fortune was shining on me that day. If it's your own team and you get a film of your own team scoring, it's a great feeling. Just incredible watching the crowd reaction.
Hello again. Tonight's match, in fact, at Ninian Park, Cardiff, between Wales and Scotland. It's the 101st meeting between the two sides. It's one of the most important ever played because both sides need a win to stand any chance of reaching the World Cup finals in Mexico.
So we got the overnight train, me and two friends. Got there quite a long time before it, plenty of time for the match. Jock Stein was the manager then. We had to get a result that day. Mark Hughes put Wales ahead. I'd climbed part of the way up one of the floodlight pylons because I wanted to get a shot of the whole Scotland end behind the goal. So when the penalty kick got awarded, I had a perfect shot. There was a porter cabin just ahead of me, and there was maybe a dozen guys who'd been sitting at the edge of the porter cabin during the second half, and of course they suddenly decided to stand up. It was just a great relief when that final whistle went. So I decided to drop my camera off in my accommodation, and as I was walking up the stairs to my room, the landlady said something like, "It was a shame about old Jockey though, wasn't it?" And that made me freeze.
The Scotland football manager, Jock Stein, collapsed at the end of his team's World Cup match in Cardiff last night and died soon afterwards, apparently from a heart attack.
It was a shock, yeah. I mean, to be perfectly honest, people were kind of stunned. I remember at full time, I would have still been filming the crowd. There's a couple of shots, I think, of the players applauding the crowd as they're heading to the tunnel, and obviously they've no idea that Big Jock had just collapsed at this time as well. It's always a strange feeling if you film something that's significant. The fact you could capture it and watch it multiple times. We appreciate Jock Stein now more than the legend that he was and probably at the time. I refuse to count the games I've been at. I always say real fans don't count our games. It's certainly over 100 away games, but I refuse to count them and I never will count them. I do take my camcorder occasionally to matches. Everybody now has a phone with a high definition camera on it. When I look back on it, you can smile. You'll laugh at something that you've done or how somebody's changed over the years. And then there's a bit of sadness because there's an increasing number of people in these films who are no longer with us. You might look at it now and think, oh yeah, I remember them. When I was first going to Scotland games, obviously I was quite a young guy then, there was always somebody to speak to. Even if there wasn't, I still felt part of it. I was just one of the guys with the camera. With hindsight, I can look back and see the value of it.